This is William speaking. Okay, I just taping this conversation. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm taping. So, this thing, she threw him in jail for what? Contempt or what?
Contempt because he wouldn't take the oath. He went and raise his hand and swear that he'd tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And she put him in there for 30 days or until he decides to go under oath to talk, answer questions.
And why doesn't he want to go under oath?
He says by law he does not have to go under oath.
Well, that's right. Under the Fifth Amendment, you cannot be compelled to testify. You have the right to remain silent.
Exactly. And that's what he was doing.
Wow. Wow.
I can give you a word that I was just giving with the definition that is about the two judges, the federal judge and the Peggy Lohorn.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me.
It's in an email. And David said to tell you thank you for everything you done last night without talking to me. I told him when I came home, I seen that you were on Facebook. I said I'd send a message to you, letting you know that he was in jail.
Yeah, we got to get him out of jail. And
yeah, I had also asked for you to call me.
So David's in jail.
David and I have been together for 20 years.
Yeah, here's other significant other. David's not going to agree to testify. Did he tell you before he went in what he might not want to testify about?
No, but I do know everything that's been going on with the case.
Well, it seems to me on the face of it, if he tried to recuse her and she wouldn't allow him to file the documents to recuse her, that's a violation right there. But she didn't let him file it, so she'll claim it wasn't filed.
Right, but I've got the paperwork here, stamped, filed.
Oh, you do?
Yes, he had this stamped yesterday. She allowed him to fire his attorney that she appointed, but the rest of it, she said she was not allowing, which was demanding for her to recuse herself because she wasn't supposed to be sitting over him with a federal and criminal case against her.
And that was, I didn't understand she had a criminal case. I thought it was only civil, but those are in federal courts?
Yes.
And who's prosecuting the criminal case?
I think it was David that was going to do that.
Well, he has a common law right to do that. It's just difficult to do when you're sitting in jail, and I think that's obvious.
That's why she's got him in jail, is so that he can't. She's wanting to get the cases thrown out.
Yeah, and that's what I emailed Adrian Meerling, Supreme Court of Indiana's Judicial Commission on Accountability or something like that.
Yeah, okay, I've dealt with this guy personally myself because I was sexually assaulted at a place I work, and it took me calling nonstop for 5 days in order to get in touch with him.
You're talking about Michael Whitty?
Yes. It took me 5 days to get a hold of him personally.
Wow.
That's why I said you have to keep calling, hanging up and calling right back.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I've done for 5 days straight.
I'm not related to David. I'm just doing media, and what I see here happening is a crime by the judge, and that was my question, why Peggy Lohorn has not been removed from the bench. Because the first right you have is to be heard by a neutral judge who's not for or against you. And it's obvious she can't be neutral, especially if she has 2 cases going against her. She can't be neutral.
One thing she said yesterday, before she even started, she goes, Mr. Roach, I am not biased or racist against you, and I refuse to recuse myself. Those were her exact words.
Wow. Well, I guess her definition of bias is different than most people's, because I think there's case law. David could probably find it if he was out of jail. There's case law to show that a judge should recuse themselves on their own motion if they're being sued by a litigant who's in front of them.
Lately, I haven't been going to court with him. A friend has, because I've been at work, and the last time I went to court with him, I almost got thrown in jail.
Yeah, well, that's not good, and that's, you're doing the wise thing. Keep going to work.
Yeah, but this here's why I almost went to jail. She brought up certain dates, and he signed paperwork on those dates, and she dismissed the case for another court date. I looked at him when he stood up to leave in front of her. I pointed at him and I said, those dates she's just naming off, you're heavily medicated. You weren't supposed to sign nothing.
What was David heavily medicated for?
He's got a fatty liver and cirrhosis of the liver. He was told if he goes to work, it can kill him.
Wow.
He's got high blood pressure. He has intermediate explosive disorder and everything. He was on 30 different medications when he had to sign this paperwork for court. And they knew that he's under all this medicine. One of the scripts was oxycodone.
Oxycontin, yeah.
You're not allowed to sign nothing when you're on those. Nothing at all to deal with court stuff.
And did Judge Peggy Lohorn hear you say he shouldn't have been signing anything?
Yes, because she told me if I said another word, she's going to put me in jail for contempt of court for disrupting her courtroom.
Yeah, which sounds reasonable if you're an appellate judge looking at a paper record. But if you're in the courtroom, it may not seem so reasonable. So he wouldn't agree to take the oath to tell the truth. He stood on his fifth. Did he say, I'm standing on my Fifth Amendment? Did he say that?
She wouldn't let him get a word out. He goes, no, I'm not going to take the oath. She goes, fine, if you don't take the oath, 30 days.
So he didn't say, I'm standing on my Fifth Amendment rights.
Right, because she wouldn't allow him. She wouldn't allow him to say anything other than that. And she was arguing with him while he was saying that.
Yeah, she was not going to leave a paper record where he claimed his Fifth Amendment rights. But I think it's implied. I don't think you have to claim it out loud, but I could be wrong.
The code that he is trying to read to her yesterday, and this is a Supreme Court ruling, I believe, or federal court ruling, is 18 U.S.C. 1512. He was trying to recite that, and before he could get the 1512 out of his mouth, she goes, Mr. Roach, I didn't ask you to speak yet, so shut up.
Wow, she's really arrogant.
Yeah.
Is Peggy Lohorn, is she the presiding judge of the county courthouse?
She is one of the three, yes. And he's got a lawsuit on all three of the judges here in this county.
Oh, that causes a problem. Then there's nobody can hear his case.
Well, they were supposed to bring in a special judge from out of this county.
And did they?
No, they did with the prosecutor, but she told that special judge not to show up because she is going to sit over this case no matter what. She was not going to recuse herself.
Do you know who that special judge was?
No, I don't.
Would the prosecutor of Montgomery County know that?
He might, and that's Thomas Sarver.
Thomas Carver?
Sarver. S-A-R-V-E-R, or V-O-R.
Okay, I'll have to give him a call.
He's one of the ones David's got the lawsuit against.
I understand that David was trying to get his child support done according to a state calculating formula.
Yes, they never used the state calculator to set his child support. At the very beginning, they set it at $70 a week for one kid.
For one kid, and what would the state formula set it at? Do you know?
When we done it up online here, it came up to about $18 to $20 a week.
Well, that's quite a discrepancy.
Yeah.
So who is the judge that set his child support way above what the state standard formula is?
Thomas Milligan.
And where's Thomas Milligan these days?
He's no longer at the courthouse, but I know he lives here in Crawfordsville. I don't have his home number or anything like that.
Well, that's okay. So he was just asking to have the state standard used to calculate his child support instead of an arbitrary number this former judge set it at.
Yes, that's what he was asking for at the beginning, and they kept saying, no, we don't have to use the calculator if we don't want to.
Wow.
And he goes, how am I supposed to live? And they said, get another job. And at the time, he was already working 2 jobs, and we could just barely make ends meet.
Yeah,
I had to go and get a second job with 4 kids at home.
Pretty tough, and they don't care, do they?
Right. They said, well, you guys need to find another way, get more jobs so you can support your family. And David didn't like anybody babysitting the kids, so I would work in the mornings, he would be at home with the kids. I'd work in the evenings, he'd be at home with the kids. He'd work mornings, I'd be at home. Turns, that's why we had 1 job apiece, then he had to go and get a second job and a third job, just so we could get things to get our bills paid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous in a country where we have no lawful money.
Right.
And we have no lawful judges, apparently, either.
There's two different spellings for it. The first spelling is SKULDUGGERY. The other spelling is SKULLDUGGERY. And then it has first definition, dishonorable proceedings mean dishonesty or trickery. The second definition is an instance of dishonest or deceitful behavior, a trick.
Well, that's what most courtrooms do, isn't it?
Yes, and this is, like I said, this just came to me from Washington, D.C. I can't tell you who sent it to me or anything else. That's all I can say.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think David will sit in jail for the 30 days rather than give in?
Knowing David, yes.